Hey everybody, welcome to today's update on Daily IoT. Another collection of updates on today's episode. I've been terrible about filming. The Capitals are in the Stanley Cup Finals. The series is knotted up at one game apiece. Filming this on Friday night. Game 3 is tomorrow, and so between the highs and lows of playing hockey this late in the year, I have not been good about filming. However, progress has been made on the project, and I want to share a few of those things with you today. And so just a brief update on the things that are going on. Agility is still making great progress on the layout. The PCB was laid out. They did a review of that. They're iterating on that just a little bit, trying to get it right the first time, hopefully, so we don't have to do too many revisions on that before we make them up. Also trying to figure out the logistics of, who's ordering parts. There are some services out there. There's a service called PCB Way that you just send the files to. They'll worry about getting all the parts, and they'll give you a quote on that. So we're waiting to hear back on that. Otherwise, you have to order parts, get them to an assembly house. If the assembly house doesn't do fab, you have to have the boards done at a fab house, sent over to the assembly house. There's just a lot of moving parts here that, for me, I've never really managed before. I know what all these things are, and for a small project, not really a big deal. You can get the PCB made through like Osh Park or something like that, and then a lot of times you can just assemble it yourself. But so we're trying to figure out all those things. What's the best way? Because we're doing a run of 5 units to test with. So we're gonna have 5 prototype pucks that I can iterate firmware on, and do things like battery profiling and stuff like that. So I think I mentioned that, but we're still in the process of getting that all organized and figured out logistically so that we can get those 5 units made up. And so things are going fine there. Hopefully we're getting close. Like I said, we're getting some quotes from different places, and so I think we should have hardware very soon to mess around with. So that is very exciting. From a business standpoint, MakerCrew LLC is an official business now. We have a bank account opened up. I had a payment due to Agility. Pro tip for people starting a business: if you use a cashier's check to open your bank account, and if it's over a certain dollar amount, which I assume could vary by bank, they will put a hold on it. They'll say, hey, some of this is available right now, but the rest of it we're gonna hold for a certain number of business days. And so that is what happened to me. I said, here's a cashier's check to fund my business. They said, that's great. You get X amount of dollars available today, and the rest is gonna fund in like a week. It was like 5 business days. And so I had that payment due to Agility. It turns out, as the stars aligned, the amount that they made available was the exact amount for the payment that I needed to make to Agility. And so as my very first business transaction, I took my business checking account straight down to $0. So that should correct itself as soon as the rest of the money funds in the next couple of business days. And so just a lot of things going on to try and get a business started up and stood up and open for business, as it were. So that's from the business side. Continue to figure out and navigate all of those things. What I'm working on this evening and this weekend is something that I'm going back and forth on whether I should spend a lot of time on or not, and that is I want to get some unit tests wrapped around my firmware early. And so I still have a lot of firmware to write, like a lot of firmware, and I'd love to get it under test. And there's lots of different opinions on testing and unit testing and test-driven development and all these buzzwords. However, the older I get and the more experience I get, especially in the software industry, which is my main job, I see the value of well-written tests. And, lots of people have different, like I said, opinions on this, but I have seen it to get something really high and tight and testable so that you can make changes fearlessly, to know you're not breaking existing functionality. If you write your tests well, it is a massive asset to a project, especially when it's just me and I don't have a team of people that can hop on problems. I would like to start this out on the right foot. However, I've run into some issues trying to get the tests set up. I'm trying to use Catch 2, and apparently very easy, but I can't get it to build through CMake, and so it's not something I really want to be working on. But it's something that I feel like is important, but at the same time, I'm like, is it that important? I really need to just get this thing out and, MVP, and I'm sort of got the good angel, bad angel thing going on my shoulder. Like, no, you don't have time for unit tests. Just get the product going. And it's like, oh, Kevin, don't forget the unit tests. It will be bad if you don't. And so I want to get some unit tests set up. I'm going to spend the night hopefully figuring out what the problem is, and so I get some of these things. Once I get the framework stood up, it should just be a matter of writing the tests as I go. And so that's what I'm working on this weekend. That was a whole lot of things going on, a whole lot of updates. This is why I need to make videos on a more daily basis so that they're not so scattered everywhere. They're more focused. And so that is the update for the Puck project as of today. Question of the day, going back to testing. I've got lots of questions about testing, but we'll just start with, what are your thoughts on testing? And I'm not talking about a specific kind of testing like, behavior-driven development is the only way to do it, test-driven development, a difference. Just how do you feel about unit tests around a firmware project? Just some general thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear about it down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching Daily IoT, the show where together we're learning how to make the Internet of Things one day at a time.